right, y'all. Here we are at another episode for Agree to Disagree with Iesha G. And today I have another guest, and we'll be diving right into the questions. But before we do, I want to give her the opportunity to introduce herself, let us know who she is, and then we'll get right into it.
All right. Hey guys, my name is Felicia Baxter Simeon. I am from Bryan, Texas. I currently live in California and I'm 34 years old. I have 4 kids and I'm married. So that's a little bit about me. I guess we'll see what she got in store for me and we'll open up from there.
Okay. So, you mentioned that you are from Bryan, Texas, and you are now in California. I have to say, like being, I'm not from Bryan, but I have family there. Bryan is a small little town. How did you come from going from Bryan to California? Because not a lot of people get out of that town. How
I
did that happen?
know. I know. I wasn't I wasn't going to be getting out of the town, but it took a lot of time and encouragement from family and stuff to just step out on what it was that I really wanted in my heart. I was actually born in Fremont, California, and my parents split up and my mom moved home and she took us all back to Texas, and that's where I grew up. Uh, Probably around the age of 27, 28. I was really kind of fed up with Bryan and what it had to offer me. And at that time, I had like 4 kids still, and I just didn't want that for them. I wanted so much more. So it just kind of hit me, and I was like, I gotta, get them out. Gotta get them out of here because I didn't want them to have like the same lifestyle. Like I love Bryan, but at the same time, I didn't want that for them. So it kind of pushed me
So
to take them out.
I understand that, me being someone that moves around and travels, and I don't mind leaving one place and going to another if I feel like it's better for me. So I
Yeah,
do understand that aspect of it, and not to discredit or downgrade anyone that still stays in their
right.
hometown. But what are some of the benefits and the good things that has come from you moving out of your town into something else? What is
There are a lot of benefits. I know I'm gonna say at first it was like a little bit of a struggle because you get comfortable in your hometown. There's people you know, even if you don't know them, just being able to walk or see people familiar in the mall and stuff, you see familiar faces gives you that comfortability of home. Uh, that kind of, there was an absence of that for like a few years I had to get used to. But being able to be away from home gave me the opportunity to open up and be who I was and not feel judged or looked down on because of certain situations that I had in my life that I went through. So being able to go into a new place and then just like genuinely be myself and grow, it has taught me a lot, even in my adult life. And then watching my kids grow out here and individualize in their own self. What I like about California that's different than Bryan, like in the youthful stage, I grew up around a lot of people who had like Jordans and materialistic things. And like out here, like my kids, they don't have to keep up with everybody with materialistic things because there's so many people, and the kids' mind frames and mentalities are so different that no one's looking at what they're wearing or their clothes or stuff. It's more like your personality shines out here. So like they were given opportunity to just, be themselves and grow in that. And like people flock to them because just their mindset of being open, like, and then not just being open, but also having that kind of conservative, I'm going to try to do better. I'm going to, be better, has encouraged like kids in their little groups. I think that was a benefit for them. One thing that I was sad about is that the difference in the education systems. I believe that Texas has a really strong education system when it comes to like elementary school and middle school and high school. And I have like kids in each department. And I feel like they kind of missed out on that when I look back and I see the efforts that teachers down there put into the kids rather than the teachers out here, because they deal with so many kids. They kind of just pass them by. So I see that that's a big difference with the education. But other than that, like there is so much growth that happened when we came out of our little bubble of what we were comfortable with back home.
So you mentioned that you have 4 kids, and you said you moved from Bryan around 27, 28. What age did you start having your children?
My first child is my oldest child. I had him at 18.
Okay.
I was in high school when I got pregnant. I didn't finish 12th grade. Um, well, I did finish 12th grade. I went to ACE. I actually finished before my graduation class. So my class graduated in 2006. I completed ACE in 2005, not 2005, but that Christmas, I completed ACE. And I didn't get to graduate or walk across the stage because at that time, Texas was with the tax assessment. If you didn't pass the assessment, you didn't get to walk or whatever. That kind of had a mental hold on me because I knew like school was hard for me, just like from the get-go. School was so hard for me that when I got pregnant, I was really down. I didn't think that I was going to get to graduate. I was told like, you really messed up now by a lot of, people that were close to me and my family, like church members and different stuff was just kind of like, oh, you really, cut off your life and, just negative stuff that made me feel like I wasn't going to that was it. That was it. You got pregnant. That's it. You ain't gonna be nothing. So like that mentality kind of just sat with me. And then being able to go to ACE and get that assurance that, hey, you're getting the same education everybody else was getting kind of helped me. But then when they told me I couldn't walk across the stage, it really kind of gut punched me because like I had worked really hard for it. And then my last year, I had to speed everything up and I still got the same education, went through the same stuff, but I just didn't get to walk because of the tax test. Kind of crutched me up a little bit.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I first off, let me say that I agree with you when you say that Texas education is top tier. I mean, although there is some bullshit, it
yeah,
is still top tier. I was talking to my husband who's from Detroit, and I don't know how we got on the conversation, but we started talking about Black teachers and, the importance and all that. And him coming from up north, he like, yeah, in my whole life, I probably had like 2 Black teachers. And me from Houston, like I've never been to like a private school or anything like that. I always
yeah,
went to schools in the hood. So all my schools had Black teachers. Like I think
yeah.
I've had maybe 2 white teachers or 2 teachers that wasn't Black in my whole life. So do you feel as though when you were in school, you were pregnant, you got pregnant your senior year, you were 18 when you had your child, but you were still a teenage parent at the time of high school. Do you feel
Mhm.
as though you had like support from your teachers, or do you feel like they were kind of against you? Do you feel like and then you also mentioned like church members and stuff. And do you feel like you had support from everybody to, be the best that you could be, or you felt like you didn't really have that and you needed more at the
I
time?
I didn't really have that. I know my mom supported me. Like it was really a hard pill for her. I like give my mom props because she really supported me in that. Um, the teachers kind of were just like passing me along and I could tell it. So when I got to the point where I was showing, I just kind of told my mom like I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. And I don't even know how she found ACE because my mom's one of those people who she didn't really get her full education, so she was gonna make sure I got mine. So
Mhm.
when she went and I guess she talked to my aunt and a few people because my aunt worked in the attendance office and she told her about the new program ACE that had opened up for kids that, needed a smaller area. And my mom she went out at full force trying to get me in there. When they finally accepted me inside, like I kind of had a little hope. But like me being from a Southern Baptist church and, a lot of the people of the church were like, you're an adult now because you made adult decisions, so you do adult things. Like it kind of really hit me in my gut. I didn't have the support from them that I thought I was going to have because even though I did step out and make some choices in my life that, led to this or whatever situations I was going through that led me to this point where I was pregnant, I just felt like I didn't get the support that I was thinking that I would receive from my church in that matter because it was kind of more of like a judgmental thing is what I felt. Like it was more of a she's not following. So, I kind of
Yeah.
just got boosted up.
First off, when you go to church, you want people, you expect something different. And,
Yeah,
that's the one place that you feel like you should not be judged. But honestly, come
exactly.
on. That's probably the place that we get judged the most. And
A hundred percent.
it's not just me, it's not just you, it's not just people that we know. Like, people are more judgmental in the church than they are anywhere else. But
Facts.
I feel as though especially with Southern Baptist, like Southern, churchgoers, the older generations, not really
Yeah.
our age people, but the older ones, they
Yeah.
really tough on, you have to do this, you have to do that. You can't, mess up. If you get
Very
pregnant,
traditional.
you out of there, like, and very traditional. And I pride myself on not being so traditional, because I'm like,
Facts.
you have to open your mind. You have to expand
Facts.
your mind, because if you don't, you'll always be in the same spot, because you'll never learn anything else. You'll never be open to learning anything else. And
This
you
is
have to understand that although people, live their life differently, or they may make mistakes, or to them it may not be a mistake. Although we all go down different paths, we all have our own journey. So you can't expect
right.
me to, do the same thing that you did. And I can't expect you to do the same thing that I did, because at the end of the day, we all have to live our own lives.
That is so true.
So now you're, older, you've graduated. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So where are you now? I know you said you're living in California, you have 4 kids. What do you do, like, day to day, and how does your life look?
So from day to day, I wake up. I'm a student. I take maybe 2 to 3 classes, trying to keep my education going, keep that going, because like I said, I struggle with education. So for me to be able to keep going is a big thing for me. I know looking around, everyone's like, you don't really need a degree to do this, you don't need it to do that and all that. And I believe it, and that's good. But this is for me. So I keep going, even though sometimes I'm just like, I don't really, it's taken away from my kids, it's taken away from time for my husband. I keep doing my schooling. I do put my kids first. My kids are always, squared away, taken care of. I wake up in the morning, I get them off to school, and then I do have a job. I work 8 to 5. It's nothing big. It's just an order desk job, which I love. I work at a wood flooring company called Gallagher. We're international, and I really love the company. It's very family oriented. The people there, it's like nowhere I've ever worked before. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't feel like I'm going to work. I feel like I'm going to go hang with my homies and handle these little calls and stuff. But like, I do that. Then after that, I probably go home, go work out with my husband, and then come in, check on the kids, cook, and then just live. Like, it's just refreshing, Ish. It's just really refreshing. Life right now is just, whew, I
Yeah.
made it.
Yeah, I feel you. I promise I feel you. And that's the thing that I try to express to people. We only got one life. And I don't think people understand what you
Yeah,
mean when you say that. Like, literally, the life that you're living right now, you don't get a second
you
chance.
don't.
And at any given time, you can literally just be done with it.
Oop,
So you
yep,
have to live the life that you want to live. You have to do the things you want to do. You have to go for it, because you'll one thing about it, we all have dreams, we all have aspirations, and even if they're not big ones or something, you have to go for what you want to do, because you don't get another chance.
this is right.
You
This is
don't get
right.
so
You
I
don't.
know. Go
I
ahead.
preach that to people all the time. Like, I even tell my kids, you will never be 13 again. You will never be 16 again. You will never be. You're gonna get to an age when you think back and you're like, dang, I should have, could have, would have. And when you can. And that's why I try to keep that mentality in front of them, that I've been there, not because I want you to do what I want you to do. I want you to do what your mind, heart is telling you to do. And I want to support you in that, because I know that you do only get that one shot. And then, like I said, for me, being from a small town, like, they wanted to try to guide us with these little roads of where they felt that we should go, and not allow us to express ourselves or just live our life, to be able to make the decision to do what we want to do. So I want to make sure that they have those opportunities.
Speaking of expressing yourself, one of the reasons why I made this podcast is to give people a platform and a space to express themselves. Because growing up, I mean, I was raised very strict by someone who was not very open minded. So I wasn't able to express myself. Anything I had to
Right.
say, I either had to shut the fuck up or just get over it, And I
Right.
feel like that is the way to go. So now I practice expressing myself and allowing other people to do the same, because although the reason why I titled my podcast Agree to Disagree is because we all have different backgrounds, different mindsets. Something that I may say, you may not agree, but that don't mean we got to hate each other. I'm gonna
No.
live my life differently than you will live your life. So my question is, do you allow your children, coming from a small town, you said, it was very, it wasn't so open-minded. Do you allow your children to freely express themselves? And also, I wanted to ask, you said that you were a teenage mom, like, you were 18, but you got pregnant in high school. Is
Yeah.
that something that crossed your mind about your children?
Yeah, I do. I do educate them. Like, for instance, I have a 17-year-old. He's he's always he's always expressing himself. Like, I first off, I do understand like the Southern mentality, and that kind of as a parent growing and stuff, I understand why they did certain things. And when I got down to, I like to get to the root of the problem. And I felt like a lot of my self-healing that I did was when I got to the root of the problem and tried to realize why my mom was doing or implementing these certain rules on me. And when I got to a lot of the root, like, for instance, I don't know if you ever dealt with like parents, you don't talk back, you don't get to say nothing. I was always that kid that had something back to say, because guess what? Sometimes you're not right. And I would say it because I have to say it. I'm not going to keep it in. I'm going to say it. And I would say it and I would get in trouble. But at the end of the day, when she comes to find around, she'd be like, And instead of telling me, she just keep on going along on Moses' way, but I would acknowledge that she acknowledged that she knew that I was right. You know what I'm saying? So when it came to my kids, I told myself, I'm not going to shut them down. That's an oppression state that came from slavery, and I'm not passing that forward to my children. So me and my husband sometimes used to, not anymore, but we used to, because he's from Louisiana, and he's got that same, no, you don't talk back thing going on. And my thing is, oh no, you express yourself. Now, if you do it disrespectfully, if you do it in a way that causes you to have a reaction, then that's what happened. You know what I'm saying? Like, them being able to express themselves does not stop. You express yourself however you want to, but think about what you say in the manner of which you say it before you say it. Because like I tell them, everything that you do say has a reaction, something's going to happen. Either someone's going to listen, they're going to understand you, y'all are going to be on the same page, communication is going to happen, or you're going to disrespect somebody, hurt someone's feelings, and then they're going to react. Now, whatever you do, you have to understand that, hey, whatever I initiated started this reaction. So when it comes to talking back, like I tell them, say whatever you have to say. But if it's disrespectful, me and you gonna handle this exactly how I have to handle this. And they're very communicative. With my son, I tell him all the time, I love you. I want you to have life. I want you to have these things. I want you to experience life to the fullest. But if you do slip up and you do get someone pregnant, me being on the other side of being pregnant by myself in that situation, like, he knows, like, me being pregnant by myself and having to go through that by myself with just my parents, I'm going to make you do what you have to do. I'm going to make sure that you understand that you have a responsibility now, because your choices led you to these actions. And now we have a whole soul here that did not ask to be here. And this young lady and you together, not one, made this choice. So he has a great desire to play football, and he has a great desire to go far, and he's really good. So I tell him, you have to think about what you want, and you have to think about your choices that lead you to what you want, and your choices that, seem like they're fun and everybody's doing it. You have to weigh those out. I can't. That's not my, it's your life. At the end of the day, if I try to dictate your choices and make you make choices I want, you're going to do exactly the opposite, because that's what I did. So I'm going to allow you exactly to make those choices, because this is your life. I don't want you to look back 20 years and be like, well, if my mama hadn't did this, and if my mama hadn't do that, then I wouldn't have did that. So what I do, Iesha, is I just give them that freedom to make those choices, and I try to be as supportive, encouraging, and provide advice according to what I feel like is correct as best as I can. Like, we don't know everything. I don't know everything. Like I tell my kids, ain't none of us been here before. Ain't none of us been here before. It don't matter how old people are, how much they've experienced in life. They have not been here before. They've not lived your life in your shoes with your situations and your variables that's altering your life. So they can't tell you. They can only suggest, advise, and provide encouragement. And if they don't, I said, then you probably should silence that little voice, because they're not even looking at you in your life. So I try to be a little conscious for my kids at times. And sometimes my husband, you give them too many options. We all have so many options. If we don't start teaching them how to make the right choices with these options, then they're going to grow up and you're going to see adults that don't know how to make choices for themselves. So
I agree. I think that I think that I know that that's true because if you have to allow people to do what they want to do. Because
Mm-hmm.
if you try to make them and dictate every little thing, they're gonna do exactly what you don't
That
want them to
part.
do.
That part.
So and even, not even just with kids, like me and my marriage, like my husband, even like since we got together, I've always tell people like allow people to be who they are. Don't
Yeah,
try to change them. Don't try to say, well, I need you to do this because
exactly.
when you do that, they may say you meet somebody and you're like, I don't like when you, I don't know, do some dumb shit. I don't like
Right.
when you do that. So I want you to change it. They may change it for a little bit for you,
Yeah.
but after
That's
3 months, after
that's who
6
they
months,
are.
after a year, after 2 years, they like, yeah, I changed all this. I ain't doing that shit no more. And now y'all
Yep.
2 years down the road and you got this totally different person, but this is who that person is. And you
Yep.
should have allowed them from the beginning to be who they are.
Yep.
And I always say, I have this saying that I say, allow people to do what they want to do so you can see what they would rather do. Because
That part.
telling them and expressing to them, I want you to do this, I want you to do this, they're gonna do it. But are they
Yeah.
gonna enjoy it? Are they gonna do it with their whole, give their
Yeah.
passion, their efforts in it? Probably not. Probably not.
I get that.
So you said that you do, you express to your oldest that, you are getting older, you're around that age where I was when I got pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back to that. When you were 17 and you were, doing your due and you found out you were pregnant, how did you feel? What did you do? How did you find out? Did you tell the guy? Were y'all together? Like, give us a little
Oh my,
about that.
oh my gosh, it was crazy. It was crazy. Honestly, I had been in a situation, like I said, I was in a Southern Baptist church. I was very sheltered. It was very weird for me growing up. There are places that my mom wouldn't allow me to go because she heard like Martin Luther King Street. You couldn't go down Martin Luther King Street. So as soon as I got me some whips, I rolled down Martin Luther King Street with my windows down. Hey, like, because that was me. I had hit a rock when my grandmother passed away in 2004. And it put me in a really dark place because I never thought, like, we never looked for her to go. Like, she was Superwoman. We never had a death that close in the family to where I had never experienced death that way. And it did something to me where I rebelled against everybody and everything. And like, I was like, dang, life is really short. My grandmother was only 74 years old. So like, it really hit me. And I was like, I'm gonna do everything I want to do. This is my life. Like, they can say whatever they want, do whatever they want, whoop de whoop. I don't care. So I did rebel the hard way. At that time, I did have a boyfriend, and my boyfriend was just not, he was not clicking. He was doing his own thing. In my book, if you doing your own thing, I'm gonna do my own thing too. So I went and started doing my own thing. But I guess my mama always says that when you got a praying mama who stay on her knees, everything you do in the dark comes to the light. So I was doing my own thing. And one day I was working, I worked at that time at Subway. And I was working, I could feel something moving. Like, this is how ignorant I was to my situation. I could feel something moving. And I was like, what? Maybe it's just gas. Girl, I was like, okay, I went on with that for a little while. It was just gas. And then, like, my aunt, who I told you was the attendance clerk, her and my cousin, was like, you looking different these days. In fact, my cousin told me, he was like, you shaped like a bad built Mexican.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, what? He was like, yeah, you shaped like a bad Bill Mexican. And I'm like, he's like, you need to go get some checking because I think you pregnant. I was like, boy, please don't say that. Don't speak that on me. Then I went on to the attendance clerk in the attendance at school. And my aunt was like, Lisa, you been doing stuff. And I was like, no. She's like, girl, don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. I'm your auntie. She's like, now I know. She said, I'm gonna give you a little while to get this squared away. And if you don't tell your mother, I'm gonna tell your mother. And I said, well, shoot, that leaves me no choice but to try to figure out how I'm gonna tell my mama. And first, I was still in denial. I went to one of my cousins and they were like, let's go to the Planned Parenthood. Let's take a test. And I said, all right, let's go. So we went to Planned Parenthood, took a test, came back positive. I was like, goodness gracious. And to me, that was like a boom because I sing in the church. I lead youth department in the church. I'm this in the church. I had myself on this little pedestal, And then when it hit me that these were choices I made that led me here, and this is all me. I was like, okay, well, I gotta go through with it. So, love you. So I went to my mom And I thought of telling her, but I was like, no, because my mama, she crazy. Everybody, in fact, everybody asked me when I told her, what did she do? And I was like, I'm gonna tell my mama because I know my auntie. She was gonna make her way over there. So one day she came over there. She didn't say nothing that day, but I knew then she was getting close to tell her because she came. So then I said, okay, well, I got to figure out how I'm gonna tell my mama. Girl, no initiation from me. My mama, she's always moving stuff, doing work outside her house. So one day she told me and my sister and brothers to move a barbecue pit. And it was not a small one. It was a pretty good sized barbecue pit. She wanted us to move it across the yard. And I was like, I can't do that, mama. And she was like, yes, you better. You better get over there and move that barbecue pit, like I said. And I said, I can't do that, mama. I can't move the barbecue pit. Then she looked at my sister and brother and she said, move. She gonna move the barbecue pit by herself. And I said, nah, I ain't moving that barbecue pit. Then she said, why are you not moving that barbecue pit, Lisa? Because she knows I always do what she says. She don't have to tell me that many times. And I said, mama, I can't move the barbecue pit because I'm pregnant. She stopped, girl. She looked at me. She looked at my sisters and brothers. She went into the other room. They said, run, Lisa. And I said, I'm not running nowhere. I'm not running nowhere. Girl, she got in her car and she left. She was gone for like 2 hours. Then she came back. When she came back, I was sitting on the porch. She was kind of rough the way she handled me. She was like, now what nigga you done let crawl on top of you and get you pregnant? I'm like, ooh, ooh, ooh. So I told her, I was like, mama, it's not even like that. And she was like, well, I'll tell you what, because this is your life. You're gonna deal with what you've done. And I said, okay, like I don't have a problem with that. She was like, I'm gonna take you to my pastor first. And I said, okay. I don't know if the pastor trip was for her. I don't know if the pastor trip was for me. But we went and sat with my pastor and he talked to me. He was like, do you know what this means? And I said, yes, I know what this means. He said, and how do you feel about it? I said, I'm gonna keep him. And he said, do you know what this will entitle to? I said, yes, sir. He said, well, I'm proud that you decided to make this choice. He said, um, you just you just won't be appeared as a small child anymore. You're now a young woman because you're about to give birth. So you transitioned your life into a young woman, which I understood. I understood that part. But everything that came after that was just like a rushing wave for me in my young self, because even though I had made adult choices and did adult actions, I still was very young, Iesha, in my mind. I was not prepared for everything that was about to hit me with this choice that I had made.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Knowing your mama, I could see it. I could see the barbecue pit, all that. I could see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have to end this now because I'm about to go. But before I go, I want to ask you if you could give advice to some teenage mom or someone around your age that's about to give birth, and or someone who wants to live, like move out of their small town and do the thing, just go somewhere else new. What advice would you give those people?
I would really just tell them to just do your research, follow your heart. Don't let anybody else make your choices, because at the end of the day, you have to live with them. No one else, not your mom, not the person that you're with, not you have to live with them. You have to, those things will cross your mind. If I stay here in this small town and I don't feel like I'm going anywhere, am I trapped? If you stay there, that's your choice. 10 years down the road, when you could have moved and advanced your life, you're still stuck, you're still having those feelings, it's not gonna go. Because if you allow people to imprint on you, if you were pregnant and you have choices that you have to make and you allow someone else to make them, you can't undo what you decide to do. So always make your choice for you and think about it. Like, it's your life. Like you said, you only get one. And if you do something that you can't undo, then you're gonna have to live with that. So make your choices for you.
All righty, where y'all heard it from her first. One more time before we go, I'll give her one last time to tell you guys who she is. If she wants you guys to follow her or whatever, here's your opportunity, and we're gonna end the video after.
Thank you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of her little podcast. I hope this blows up for her. I'm Felicia Baxter. You can follow me on Snapchat. I'm anonymous to you. You can follow me on TikTok. I'm Felicia Baxter in there, as well as Instagram.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on my show, Agree to Disagree with Iesha G. And we're going to stop the video here. So I will see you guys in the next podcast episode. Bye.